The monthly office hours series is designed with the family workforce in mind. Remember, you can use the training hours to apply to your hours of certification. Before we start our interactive conversation today, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. Next page, yeah. Today's conversation is being recorded. The recording and any additional resources will be uploaded to our NASDAQ website under the Events tab, and we will also send them out. If you have any technical difficulties, please type your comment and someone will be able to assist you. Please also type your questions for the presenter in the chat box. We will be watching the chat during the entire presentation. Our office and our goal for office hours is to not only work together to learn, but it's to encourage a conversation between our good guest presenters and all those in attendance. We encourage you to ask questions that will assist you in your daily work. We will unmute participants after the presentation portion is completed. If you can use the raise your hand button, that would be helpful. NASDAQ hopes you leave this event invigorated and with new ideas to help you do your work. We ask that you take time to complete a short feedback survey using the link provided at the end of this presentation. This survey will help us continuously improve our events, and it also fulfills our SAMHSA funding obligations to provide them with important data required by our contract. Please note, all information would be confidential, and we will respect your privacy. We do not offer CEU credits for our events, but you will receive a certificate of attendance after the survey is completed. And that certificate you can save and use to apply to the national certification training requirements. So each of these trainings this year, you will get 1.5 hours towards your certification training for the National Federation of Families. So remember that. This is a great training for that. I would like to thank SAMHSA for allowing us to share this information with you today, and thank you for joining us. Next. And of course, NASDAQ uses family-driven language. We're trauma responsive, strengths-based, avoids blaming caregivers, inclusive, always use person-first language. We want to be respectful, non-judgmental, that's the one that's closest to my heart, and consistent with our actions. Lachelle?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lachelle Freeman. I'm project manager here at NASDAQ, and I'm filling in for Dana Aspie today. So we're going to get started. So as Gail mentioned, the Office Hours series is preparing our family peer workforce for system transformation and authentic family partnership. So the goals are to support family peers to build skills within the 5 core competencies to best support families through the lifespan and increase acceptance of mental health and substance use challenges. Inspire family peers to challenge family serving systems by advocating for family-driven language, care, policies, and systems. And provide resources, tools, and opportunities for peer learning to increase self-efficacy within the 5 core competencies. Now, some of you guys probably already know what the 5 core competencies are, but they're wellness and resiliency, resources and natural supports, effecting change, system knowledge and navigation, and professional responsibility. So for today's office hour, these are the things we hope you can take away with you. To focus on well-being as a family peer, as family peers work alongside families to increase acceptance of mental health and or substance use challenges. Understand why resilience is a necessary skill to cultivate as a family peer is important to teach to families to effectively advocate family-driven systems and care and gain self-care and community care strategies to prevent burnout as a family peer. That's a big one. So when you hear, we're going to do something right now. Some of you guys are familiar with using Mentimeter. We're going to put a link in the chat for you to go to the Mentimeter and tell us, when you hear self-care, what comes to your mind? So once you get to Mentimeter, you can go ahead and put that code in there so you can start responding to what you think of when you hear self-care.
So we go into menti.com and then use the
Yes.
code.
Yes. Oh, rest. Definitely. Self-care, rest is very important. Who else are you guys able to get in there? What we want to do, stress, okay? Self-care. Taking a break, self-awareness, breathing, breath is life. Absolutely. What else? You'll see our word cloud, recharge, self-awareness, soothe, health. Yes, well-being, strength, energize. I love the word intentional. Taking a nap, absolutely. Something we probably used to didn't like to do as we were younger, but we appreciate a good nap now. Wellness, okay. Reading, exercise. Yes, recharge. And so there are, as you can see, there are a lot of options when you come to self-care. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our speaker. I'm going to introduce our speaker. 1 second, guys. Okay, so Wanda Douglas, she's a nationally certified peer specialist. She is a national certified trainer, a nationally certified peer specialist, and a master certified life coach. She is the owner, CEO of Basic Training and Consultation LLC, and she currently works with the Hope Community Clinic of East Charlotte. She is married with 3 young adults. Her passion for advocacy began during her 16 years as a therapeutic foster parent. She has been recently honored as the 2023 System of Care Champion of Mecklenburg County. So I'm going to turn it over to Wanda. Wanda?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to NASDAQ for having me today. I am so excited about being here and talking to you about achieving your wellness. And the first thing I'd like to say as we move to the next slide is that everything that I talked to you about today is not only for you, but it's also for the people that you support, your families, and your community. I'm going to briefly introduce to you some concepts around WRAP, which is the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, around CREM, which is the Community Resilience Model, and talk a little bit about self-care. And so as we move to the next slide, because we're on a limited amount of time, we're going to send you some information afterwards for you to be able to revisit all the information that I share with you today. So as I start, the first thing I'd like for you to understand is wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits every day with the goal of achieving better physical and mental outcomes so that we thrive and not just survive. Wellness is a holistic integration of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Taking a holistic approach, we fuel our bodies, we fuel our minds, and we nurture our spirits. Wellness also requires us to be good stewards, self-stewards, not just for ourselves, but for those we care about and for those who care about us. We want to take care of ourselves for ourselves as well as for others, our friends, our families, our co-workers, and the families that we support. We all have an ethical obligation to our own health and well-being so that we don't cause harm to ourselves or to those that we serve. We set the example as leaders for others to follow. When we take care of ourselves, we demonstrate the importance of self-care and wellness to others. Next slide. So I'm going to introduce to you the concept of WRAP. The goal of WRAP, again, Wellness Recovery Action Plan. The goal of WRAP is to build a toolbox of ideas and strategies that work for you and help you deal with challenges. Through the WRAP process, you can explore what you want in life and decide how you want it to happen. WRAP is both a preventative strategy to stay well and a proactive strategy to address challenges and obstacles as they come up. It can be adapted for anything you want to work on. People around the world have used WRAP for things like raising self-esteem and self-confidence, building a strong support system, improving relationships with family members and friends, making new friends, and establishing new wellness supports, becoming more assertive, making life changes, boosting their career skills, and even enhancing their lives overall. WRAP helps you think about the details of all the issues that you want to address. It also helps you notice small changes or signs that show things may be getting worse. WRAP will teach you to use your action plan to help you feel better, help you get well, help you stay well, and then move toward the goals that are important to you and increase the overall quality of your life. Next, we look at the key concepts on this slide. There are key concepts to a WRAP plan. They include hope, personal responsibility, education, self-advocacy, and support. Hope, we know, is the belief that we can get well, stay well, and go on to fulfill our dreams and our goals. Personal responsibility, it's up to us to take action and to do what we need to do to stay well. We take on our own personal responsibility. We decide what that looks like. Do we want to cook for ourselves? Do we want to manage our own finances? Whatever that is. Education, learning all that we can about what we're experiencing helps us make good decisions about all parts of our life. And the WRAP plan, by putting all of these concepts together, we're giving those that are supporting us and the families that we're supporting, giving them a tool that they can use to give to other people when they can't provide for themselves or they can't answer for themselves. In this plan, it tells them how they want things to be done for them, the way that works best for them. Self-advocacy, reaching out to others and expressing our needs to get not only what we need, but what we want and what we deserve to support our own wellness. And then support, giving and receiving support from others will help us feel better and enhance the quality of our lives. And again, with WRAP, we decide what kind of support we need, what support means to us on an individual basis, what it looks like, and who gives that support, as well as how do we receive it, and also how we want to give it to others. How do we want to support others? And then the different parts of WRAP. The wellness toolbox is the foundation of any WRAP plan. And in a toolbox, you just have simple, safe, accessible, and often free things that we can do to recover and maintain wellness. You can have anything you want in your toolbox. One of the things that I have in my toolbox is 100 coloring pencils because I love to color. And so when I'm feeling a little stressed, I'll pull out my toolbox, I'll get a book, and I'll start coloring. And it just kind of helps. Another part of the toolbox and the part of WRAP that's important is the daily plan. A simple structure for putting wellness tools into action on a daily basis. Okay, so what are we going to do on a daily basis in the event that we're in a crisis? In this toolbox, we have a plan already written out before the crisis ever happens as to what we're going to do, how we're going to use this skill, how this WRAP plan. Also, a part of WRAP is the early warning sign. There's subtle signs of change that indicate we may need to take some action to keep from getting into a crisis situation or to keep things from getting worse. Signs that things are breaking down and getting worse. That's important because this is the time to take immediate action to prevent a crisis and use the specific concrete plan identified in the toolbox. And when you're creating this RAP plan, you for yourself or the individuals that you're supporting, when they're creating the RAP plan, all of these things are a part of the actual plan. So people know what to do and how to do it prior to any of these things happening. The crisis plan, by having a crisis plan, it helps you stay in control even when things feel like they're out of control. Having made this plan helps you and your supporters know exactly what to do, how to do it, who to do it with, when you can't do it for yourself. So it's already written down, it's already a part of the plan. And then after a crisis, the post-crisis plan. It helps you navigate the time after the crisis so that you can return to your daily plan on the timetable and the way that makes sense for you. So all of this is a part of the RAP. And because a RAP training could be 8 hours, we encourage you to, at some point in time, take a look at getting involved in a RAP class and learning how to do a RAP plan for yourself, because later on we'll talk about other ways that you can use this RAP plan for your life. Next slide. So here I'm going to introduce the CREM skills, CREM, Community Resilience Model, and talk a little bit about how each one of these skills, how you can use each one of these skills. Elaine Miller-Karras, who is the founder of CREM, said, resiliency is an individual and community's ability to identify and use individual and collective strengths in living fully in the present moment and to thrive while managing the activities of daily living. Now, simply put, it's a person's ability to use skills throughout the day to manage all the challenges that you encounter. So these are just some basic skills that you can use throughout the day that help you manage anything that you might encounter during the day. The primary focus of the CREM model is to help individuals and communities shift their perspectives from human weakness to biology, understanding that there are common human reactions to stressful or traumatic events that affect the mind and the body and the spirit. CREM is a set of easy to learn wellness skills to bring the body and mind back into balance. These skills are useful for people of different cultures, different ethnic backgrounds. They can be used with different ages, and you don't have to talk about your past to use these skills. And that's important because when people have traumatic experiences that have gone on in their lives or trauma in their lives, we don't always want to keep telling that story. With our families that we support, they don't want to always have to keep telling that story over and over and over and relive that trauma. So with these skills, you don't even have to talk about your past. I only have a brief time to introduce these skills. However, at the end, you will have a link to access these tools and study more in depth at your own pace. So the first skill that's used is called tracking, and tracking is usually used in combination with all of the skills that we're talking about today. Stress in our lives can affect different organs in the body. For example, have you ever been stressed about something and experienced heartburn? If you've ever been stressed about something and experienced heartburn, give me a thumbs up, or you can put it in a chat. Have you ever noticed your heart rate increasing after hearing some bad news? Yes, absolutely. What's happening is it's our body's way of saying, stop, pay attention. This is the elegant design of humans, and this is what tracking is. It's noticing or paying attention to what's happening in our bodies, the sensations within our nervous system. As we pay attention, it helps us to learn how to bring balance back into our nervous system by managing those inner sensations. And the language of sensation simply refers to the words that help you describe what you might be noticing inside. Words like warm, cold, tingly, tight, sleepy, focused, clear. Tracking helps you notice the difference between the sensations of stress and pain and the sensations of balance within the nervous system. Like I said earlier, if you get bad news, your heart rate might increase. And then there's times where you might be experiencing some digestive issues if you get bad news or you're stressed about something. And sometimes with the digestive issues, you may feel like you might be cramping on the inside, or you might feel tight. I used to tell my children when they were younger, if you have gas, it's better to let it out than to hold it in. Now think about that. If you have gas and you're just holding it in, what's happening to your body? You're feeling tight, you're feeling tense, you're squeezing parts of your body really tight. But what happens when you release that and let that go? It's just like a burp. If you've got indigestion or something and you need to burp, doesn't it feel better when you actually get it out than when you just hold it in? Even with crying, sometimes we need to shed some tears, bringing water to our eyes. When we cry, think about the sensations that you feel after that release, after you let that go. That's what tracking is, just simply paying attention to the changes that are happening in your body and noticing how your body is being affected. The second skill is called resourcing. A resource can be a positive characteristic, a good memory, a person, a place, an animal, a spiritual belief, a spiritual guide, anything that provides comfort, joy, peace, or happiness. You can build your resources by thinking on what gives you strength and or joy in your life, or by describing a person, place, animal, spiritual belief that sustains and nurtures you. And then as you talk about your resource with detail and clarity, notice what's happening inside. Bring awareness to your feelings, to your breath, and to your posture. We're going to practice the skill of resourcing in just a moment. I want to go through the rest of the skills first, and then we're going to practice that. So the next one would be grounding. It refers to bringing your attention to your body in the present moment by noticing how you're making contact with a surface or something that provides support to your body. Now, you can ground by sitting, standing, lying down, or finding a position that's simply comfortable to you. And this is something you can actually practice right now, right where you are. Like I'm sitting in the chair, you might be sitting in a chair. Notice how your back is making contact with that chair if you're actually sitting in a chair. For those of you who are, practice this as we go through it. Notice how your back might be in contact with the chair right now. Notice your thighs. Notice your legs. Bring awareness to your feet if they are making contact with the floor. Notice the sensations within your body that are pleasant or neutral. If you become aware of an uncomfortable sensation, bring your attention to the places that feel more neutral or more comfortable. Now I want you to slowly scan your body from head to toe, from your head, your neck, your shoulders, your back, your thighs, your feet as they're making contact with the floor. And I want you to put in the chat any sensations that might be pleasant or neutral as you think about what's happening in your body, as you ground yourself in this position. That chair is supporting you. So just think about those sensations that you might be experiencing in your body right now. And if you don't mind, put that in the chat. I see someone saying calming, warm, relaxing. Thank you. Feeling a sense of peace. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. The next one, comfort, great. The next one is called gestures or spontaneous movement. Gestures can express an attitude and are usually right under our conscious awareness, meaning we may do it without even thinking about it. It is an expression that is self-calming and not self-harming, emphasizing an idea, a sentiment, a feeling, or an attitude. Gestures can come up quickly. As you make these movements, I want you to think, slow down, and notice the sensations, because slowing down, comforting movements will often strengthen our sense of well-being. And a gesture can be a thumbs up for approval, or it could be a wave, and it could be for hello. It could also be for goodbye. You could gesture your hand behind the ear, indicating speak a little louder or I can't hear you. One of the most powerful gestures there are is a smile. A smile can say 1,000 words without ever opening your mouth. Twiddling your thumb, stroking your hair. Sometimes you could just be sitting in a space and you could feel a little stressful, and just stroking your hair could just be comforting to you or to the family members that you're working with. Whatever works for them or whatever works for you. And then the last one I'm going to briefly discuss is shift and stay. This means shifting your attention away from an unpleasant or painful sensation to a pleasant, less painful or neutral sensation, and then staying there. If you are distressed, you can shift your attention to a place in the body that might be a little more comfortable, calmer, less painful or neutral. You can shift to a resource, a memory, a pet, a person, a place, a thing. You could also shift to grounding by how your body is making contact with a chair or sofa or surface. Or you can shift to a self-soothing gesture, rocking, tapping. As your attention is shifted, you track what is happening in the body as the body is brought to a more pleasant, calmer, less painful, neutral sensation. So let's go to the next slide. And let's take an example. I want you to think about a resource. We're going to break out into groups because I want you to just practice one of these, two of these skills. I want you to think about a resource when you break out into your group, and I want you to track the facial expressions, the heart rate, the emotional responses. You're going to partner with someone in the group. You're going to have about 20 minutes to do this exercise. So multiple of you will have an opportunity to practice this skill. So you're going to partner with someone in the breakout group, and you're going to ask them about their resource. And as they're talking to you about their resource, I want you to track what you see. Monitor their face. And I want whoever's sharing the resource afterwards to share with them what they were experiencing in their body. Okay. And then when we come back into the larger group, we're going to take turns sharing the takeaways about what this experience was like for you. Okay. Lachey, are you ready to break them out into a group? So do we have everybody back yet?
think the rooms are they're transitioning back, so the rooms will shut down in about 7 seconds. And we should have
Awesome.
everybody back in the main room.
Awesome.
Okay, so everybody should be back. Okay. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do another Mentimeter. So go back to your mentimeter.com and use the code 81252326. And the question is what did you learn from practicing this skill?
And while we're waiting on their responses, I wanted to say we had a great time in the breakout room, and it was just exciting to see people practice this skill and the responses.
That is amazing. Okay. So really look at folks while listening. The power of reflective listening. Confidence when talking, to identify how a person's facial expression will exclude their joy or excitement, additional resources and their uses. The power of reflective listening, I come across as more together than I feel on the inside. Okay. Sharing makes us all stronger. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
See, we'll let a couple more come in. Caring about others on the inside and the outside. That's very important. I love the confidence while talking, even though I may have already said that. Wanda, you can let me know if you want to wait for a couple more responses or if you're ready to move to the next slide.
Well, just one or two more. Showing empathy to
Okay.
situations
Mhm.
helps, and how wonderful it feels to be able to express a positive experience. That was empowering. It was absolutely empowering. And I'll just share one in the group that I was in. Miss Mary talked about her Jeep being her resource. She's got this new 2020 Ranger Jeep, and she's so excited about it. She's got these reflective opal colors on the inside, and as she's driving through different places, the colors reflect. She's got pictures in her office. She's got a new group of friends that she hangs out with, a new Jeep family. And just to watch her talk about this resource, it just lit up her face. She had a smile on her face. Again, I used my hands. She used her hands, as a gesture, expressing her excitement and her joy about this particular resource. And it was just great to see how a simple skill like resourcing and tracking what was going on and what she was feeling, how amazing it was to change the conversation. Taking you from where you might be in this moment, which might be a little stressful moment, to transition into another space where just in that moment, that resource brings some balance back into your life and into your emotional state at that moment. So I just thought it was great. And I appreciate everyone who participated in that activity. And again, we'll give you some more information about how you can practice these skills more afterwards. So we can move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Actually,
And before we
Wanda,
do that, I wanted
Uh-huh.
to.
sorry, sorry, Michelle and Wanda, but I just wanted to jump in on what Wanda was saying. And since this is a real family peer specialist training and it helps with the national certification as well, how do, really think about how does that apply to when we're listening to families? Isn't that a great natural resourcing? You know, when you see a family light up, for instance, with the Jeep, that just sounds, you know, if you were talking to a family and the family started lighting up when they were talking about something that gave them excitement, think about what you could do with that piece of knowledge as a family peer specialist. Go ahead.
Absolutely. You could tap right into that and just have them elaborate on it and talk. Tell me more. Tell me
Yes.
more about that resource. And as they go into more detail, you can see the lightness come. You could see their shoulders relax. You could see the calming come as they give you more and more detail about that resource and how it helps to transition them in that moment. And they never said anything at all about a negative experience or a trauma or stress that they're going through. It just brings them to a space where they can relax in that moment. And then as a family partner, you can get more information from them about whatever it is that you're supporting them with in that moment. So these are great tools that you can use, little simple skills that you can use to support your families, your immediate family, your family partner family, your community. The other thing that Mary said was she had a picture of her Jeep in her office place and she shared it with her coworkers. So all of her coworkers know what her resource is. So it's just amazing. And so we're going to wrap up a little bit. I know we're running short on time, but I do want to talk a little bit about self-care. Making self-care a priority, simply put, means creating spaces for the things that nurture and energize you. Doing nothing is not necessarily a self-care day. Mindless scrolling through social media or watching Netflix all day may or may not be the best way to take care of yourself. Instead of feeling better, sometimes that can actually make you feel worse, which is the absolute opposite of what self-care is supposed to do for you. Simple things can bring you joy and help you feel grounded. You know, choosing to sprinkle little doses of self-care throughout your day. For example, you can read a book for an hour or take a long walk or even a short walk, playing a game, whether it's with someone or on your phone or your tablet. I'll pull out my phone from time to time throughout the day. I like to play phase 10. So I'll play a quick game and then I'll put it down and then I'll get back to whatever it is. Sometimes I just need a 5-minute breather. You can get cuddles from your partner or your pet or your child. You can do a puzzle, you can color, you can even watch a sunset with a drink of your choice. Little things like this may help you reconnect with yourself and just give you space to be. When it comes to self-care, you must be intentional about what nourishes you and don't choose random things or activities that you won't benefit from. Do something that will actually help you take better care of your well-being. Know the reason behind your self-care routine. Pinpoint what your body needs in terms of nourishment. Whatever you do for self-care should become an intentional well-being practice rather than just a complete waste of your time. You don't want to do anything that's just going to waste your time. You want to debunk some of the myths about self-care. Like, your self-care routine does not have to be long or complicated. It can be quick, simple, and manageable. It could be one activity or it could be multiple 10-minute little exercises or activities throughout the day. Now, if necessary, it could very well be an all-day process. Just don't get stuck on the shiny trends or social media, and know that it is okay to say no. And when you're creating a plan, it's important that you write it down. It's something about the way our brain functions. When we write things down, we have a tendency to move closer to that, whatever it was that we wrote down, accomplishing that goal. Keep it simple. Whatever your self-care plan is, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it so that you can incorporate it into your daily schedule. If you take up a new habit, make sure it's something that you enjoy. If you begin a new sport or workout routine, give yourself grace to grow. If you need to incorporate one of those overindulging days, day-long activities, do it, but don't do it to the point where you get fed up with peace and tranquility. Okay. The next slide. Make yourself a high priority. When it comes to prioritizing yourself, socialize with friends and family members who don't drain your energy or have a negative impact on you. Do something that makes you feel good, both on the inside and on the outside. Making yourself a priority should never feel like a chore. Otherwise, what's the point? And wellness is something that you can practice daily from the comfort of your own home. Ignore what everybody else is doing and focus on your own needs and likes. Just do the things you actually enjoy. And when you're working with your families, you're asking them to do the same thing. Prioritize themselves. Take a moment. Sometimes they have to say no as well. Do something that they enjoy. Encourage them to do something that they enjoy. Keep it simple. A lot of times, practicing self-care, you don't have to spend money. You don't have to leave your home. A lot of times we think about these elaborate plans and you know, we're going to go to the spa for the day and we're going to get our nails done and our hair done and our feet done. And some of our families can't afford to go to the spa and spend the day and get their hair done and their nails done and their feet done. But they could sit down on the bed and have their partner rub their feet. Or they could sit with a book and a puzzle and just draw, or they can take out a journal and just write, or they could really watch a good, funny movie and just laugh. I used to tell people all the time, I love watching Steve Harvey because he makes me laugh. And prioritizing yourself, sometimes, you know, laughter is like medicine. It's good for the soul. So sometimes just laughing is a good way to prioritize yourself. And on the final slide of the presentation is my summary. And one of Margaret Mead's favorite quotes says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has." And we are all a part of that thoughtful, committed group of individuals that change the world every day. We are working with families and youth who need us. And it's important that we take care of ourselves so that we can support them in ways that they need. When we talk about the RAP plan, it's about a wellness recovery action plan that works for them on an individual basis as well as us. We talk about the CREM skills, how we can use those skills to help support us as well as support our families, and then self-care to take care of you so that you can help take care of others. The next slide is just about resources that you'll be able to grab a hold to. The iChill app is an app where you can get all of these skills that we talked about. It's a free app. You can download it on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, and you can go over these skills that we talked about, learn them, practice them on a daily basis. There's iChill music. There's the Wellness Recovery Action Plan information. The next slide, please. It's a bunch of self-care apps that you can look up. Personal care apps, mood and meditation apps, health and wellness apps. These are all free apps that you can look up, and you'll get these slides, and you can look these up and pull out what works for you. Share it with your families. I think that's the last slide. Yep. So I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about health and wellness and resiliency. And I hope this has not been a complete waste of your time. I hope you were able to take away something that's going to benefit you and the families that you serve. So thank you.
And don't leave yet. We still have
I'm
more.
not leaving.
Thank you, Wanda. Thank you all, everyone. I know by a show of hands, and Maria, I'm going to get to you. Let's take our if you feel comfortable, put your cameras on. Take off your mics. Unmute yourself because I want to have a conversation. And yes, we will be sending the slides and all the information. But people here by a show of hands or in the chat, how many are currently family peer specialists? Do we have a good number? How many have their national certification? No, I don't have my national certification, but how many people here? How many people want to be a nationally certified family peer specialist? I see Laura, I see some hands here. This is great because this series of training is going to help you get those hours to put towards your training. So I hope you continue doing our series. We happen every month, once a month, same day, same time, same day, Tuesday, once a month, and same time. But let's, I see some hands. So let me see. Sheena, I think you were the first with our questions. So do you have a question, Sheena, or was that you raising your hand about being a family peer specialist? It was family peer specialist. Any other questions? All right. You know, Wanda, families often feel like they are too overwhelmed for self-care, or they have other things that they must focus on for self-care. How do you encourage families to prioritize? What do you say?
Well, one of the
Gosh,
things I
it's
said
dark
earlier
outside.
is sometimes we have to say no in
Is
order
Jay
to
down here?
prioritize yourself. Sometimes we have to realize that we are not superhumans and that we need to be able to say no. No is a complete sentence, and leave it there and be okay with that. Because in order for us to get to a place where we're not feeling so overwhelmed, sometimes we have to not do as much as we think we can. Because we want to do so much to support our families, our youth and our families. And we don't want to see them in the spaces where they are when they're in a crisis. So we want to do everything that we possibly can. And they want to do everything that they possibly can to transition out of that space. So, you know, the most important thing I would say is at least be able to say no from time to time, take a break, take a beat, take a breath, and then go back to whatever it is that we're working through. The crisis of the day is going to be the crisis of the day, but we all know there may be another crisis tomorrow. So sometimes just resting and in the moment is a way that we can take away some of that feeling of being overwhelmed.
You're getting a lot of thumbs up and private messages. One thing while you were talking, Wanda, there were a lot of questions about CRM. Which CRM skill do you tend to use the most?
Personally, I tend to use the resource the most, because a resource is something that you can pull out anytime, anywhere. I was sharing in the group that I was in, my newest, and resources can change. My newest resource is my new deck. I just got this beautiful new deck added onto my house. And I was sharing with them, a deck might not mean anything to anybody, but every day when I'm at work, thinking about coming home to that deck put a smile on my face. Thinking about coming home to that deck made me happy. When I came home every day from work, whatever that stressful stuff that I was dealing with, I didn't think about it anymore because I looked forward to coming home. I was happy on the drive home in all the traffic. I was happy on the drive home when it was dark because, you know, with the time change, it's dark. I'd go and turn the light on. So resource is the one that I use the most. And with resource, and I could track how I'm feeling, because every day I came home, my heart rate would increase because I'd be excited about what I'm going to see. My face would light up. If my husband was here when I got home, I'm smiling. I'm out there taking pictures, you know. So for me, the resource is the one that I use the most because you can pull that out anywhere, anytime, that thought, that memory, that picture, whatever that resource is for you, you can pull it up and go in that space anytime.
Fabulous. And you know what? Not only did I see your face light up, see, I learned something today, but I saw a lot of people who were listening to you light up. And on that note, I see so many smiles here. I would love to hear what other people, what are your resources? Take it, unmute yourself and let me know. Anyone? Would you like to tell me what your resource is or what makes you smile?
My
Diana? Oh, go ahead. Your Shannon?
I was gonna say my grandbabies.
Oh, your grandbabies. And how many grandbabies do you have?
5, but 2 I see all the time.
Okay, anybody else? Stephanie Hoffman, I see you nodding. Would you love to share? Or could you share?
Well, this may seem cheesy or mundane, but what I shared in the small group was that my actual job of being a certified family support partner. I have learned that I'm good at it. I'm not someone with a lot of self-confidence, so this has been a true growth and a giving and a receiving, and so yeah, it's just been, that's my resource. That's my positive experience doing this work. It's rewarding and brings a smile to my face. Even when I'm having a challenge, I don't care because it's all for good and growth, and we're both going to come out of this better. So yeah.
Oh, I love that, Stephanie. And it didn't sound cheesy to me. I thought that sounded great. And we need a lot of really good family peer specialists. And just saying that everyone here is here today, I know you want to improve your skills and learn new things to apply to the families you work with. So it's wonderful. Maria, I see a great smile on your face, Maria Quinn. You want to contribute? What's your resource? Are you comfortable enough?
Oh my goodness. This is a little crazy, but my daughter, she's 18, but she suffers with severe depression. But to help her cope, we we actually got a doll, a doll that looks really real. A friend of ours gave it to her, and it's just been, and believe it or not, we actually we 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 make it feel like it's real, and it helps her to cope. It helps me to cope, and it's funny, but it really does, because it's important for me. Her happiness is important to me, and it gives me joy, because she doesn't have that a lot. So just the fact that we were able to get this doll that actually looks real, and we treat it like that, it brings us joy, because it makes her really want to get up in the morning and actually do things. So it may sound a little crazy and silly, but it helps her cope, and it helps us as a family. So yeah.
Oh, Maria, I think that is so wonderful. And I see the joy in your face too. So thank you for sharing. And
Well,
go ahead.
I don't have one to share, but I'm loving that everybody's saying what's happy and what makes it for them, because at the end of the day, we're all individuals and we all have to do what's for us. My norm isn't your norm, but what's normal. So please don't belittle or downgrade what's for you, because it's for you.
I love that too. That very well stated, Carrie. Anyone else? I just love all this, and I love seeing all the smiles too, so I appreciate it. We had other question before we move on. Someone asked, how have you encouraged the families you work with to practice self-care and build resiliency? Oh, that's a long question. Wanda, what do you think? In the group, if you have ideas, if you're a family peer specialist, please contribute, not just the family peer specialist, but anyone here that has some ideas. How have you encouraged families to practice self-care and build resiliency?
This is Kimberly. I hate that my camera's not cooperating, but if you can hear me, I'd love to share.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about positive childhood experiences. And, admittedly, a lot of families, reflect that they did not have themselves a whole lot of positive childhood experiences growing up. So we really use that as an opportunity to, reflect on, coming back into that space where we recognize that we can have positive childhood experiences even as adults, and be in that space of when we're facilitating those experiences for our kids, that we invest in those moments ourselves. And we always say it's never too late to have a happy childhood, and recognizing and cherishing those moments of playtime with our littles and with ourselves as a way to build resilience.
Thank you, Kimberly. I think that's all we have for time for questions. So we're going to move on because we have a little bit left to share with you. Next slide, please. So next month, coming in January, Affecting Change, Social Justice and Advocacy for Families. And it will be Barbara Callahan, who is a family peer specialist from New York, will be presenting. And again, it's on Tuesday, January 9th at 3 o'clock. And it will cover the second of our core competencies. So that will be really good. And I think that I really do hope that this was an informative and helpful event. And I want you all to think about what we learned today and how we apply it not only to ourselves, but the families we're working with. I think that's really, really useful. I want to thank Wanda Douglas for today and thank everyone for your participation. A special thanks to the NASDAQ staff for helping us run today's event smoothly. And now I have a request for you. As I mentioned at the top of this event, please take some time to fill out our survey. When you exit this event, you'll be redirected to the survey site, and you have to exit. You can't wait for us to close out. And you'll be brought to that site and you'll fill out the survey. Once you finish the survey, you will be brought immediately after the survey. You'll be taken to get your certificate of attendance. Keep that certificate because you can apply it to the hours for your national certification trainings. So here's the QR code. So we want your feedback. And if there's this place on the survey, and I honestly can't remember, to ask that asks for suggestions, let me know what you thought of the breakout groups. It was something a little bit new that we're doing. And if it worked for you, let me know. And if it didn't work, let me know, because that will inform how we go beyond this and go further. So thank you all for coming. And we go back one slide. Yes, there's a family partnership, a free 6-lesson self-paced online course module. It's for family peers, but also for the general workforce. Feel free to share that or take it and give us feedback on that too. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Bye-bye. And we'll keep this up until 4:30. So everyone will have a chance to fill out that survey. If you leave us, it'll take you right to the survey, and that will be easier. And we appreciate you taking the survey too. We will keep this site open just for 5 more minutes, and then we will leave.